Hi Dave, it was good to have you here the other day, and I wanted to get back to you as quick as possible here with some possible triplets. You mentioned your client is interested in perhaps 5 feet tall. The tallest columns you see here in front of this fabric are 64 inches. We actually have some that are even taller than that, but I wanted to group some potential pairings of 3. You can see on the far right there's a pairing of 2, and those are 2 beautiful pieces. I would need to find a third one to go with them and maybe draw the closest one in the next grouping over to the left from that into that grouping if that's the one that they wanted. Now let me get a little bit closer here. We talked a little bit about pricing, and I told you that there's a range. That range is represented by, I'll spray these and make them wet for you. The high end of that range would be the nicest grouping we could make out of what's here, a grouping of 3. So imagine if you had 3 pieces all over 48 inches and one of them as high as this tall one here, and then we're maxing out at the top of the range that we discussed. Of course, if we max out height-wise at 4 feet instead of 5.5 feet or 6 feet, then you're avoiding the premium cost of the specimen pieces that there are only so many of. 4 feet and below, they've got plenty of inventory, plenty of material they're able to get out of there. That's a real nice grouping. I think this particular grouping is stunning. Great color, they match well together, the lines are flowing with one another, so that it's a real harmonious looking grouping. Of course, we would have to polish the tops like we did here in order for the water to flow uniformly. Now this grouping is a little heavier. We don't have as much of the blues and the dark grays in this. That's a cool feature. There's a name for that pattern which escapes me right now, but it's on the video that is on our website on the Quarry Connection page. Geologist Greg Prescott talks a lot in that video about the likely age of this rock and how it formed and what accounts for the coloration and so forth. Now on the lower end of that range, I showed you a grouping and you liked that grouping. It was over closer to the entrance of the showroom. And those pieces, this was the tallest of that grouping. And the others here, these total of 5, omitting the tallest one here, is the grouping that I offered in the lower end of the range that we discussed. So that's a nice grouping too. It just doesn't have the presentation, of the big pieces, which is pretty impressive. Okay, that's a place to start. I'm sure they would want to come in here and get a first-hand look, but we'll continue from here then. Take care.